Hey, this is Bryan and Joel from Zoom Vacations. We've been doing several videos during the pandemic just on how we've been getting by in the pandemic, what we've been doing to get by and be healthy through it. And now with the writing, there's a whole new hurdle that our nation and really the whole world actually is facing. And so we want to talk a little bit about some of our experiences that we've seen around the world while we've been traveling. There's numerous countries that have faced extreme upheaval and have emerged past it. And we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about that. As you can see, Joel is also wearing your Pride t-shirt.
Yeah, happy Pride. Wearing my Pride t-shirt in honor of Pride Month. So as Bryan was saying, yeah, there's a number of countries around the world like Egypt, Rwanda, South Africa, for instance.
Some of the ones we know the best, probably.
Yeah. That have had their issues with respect to
upheaval
and have come out of it better. So I'm just hoping that everything that's happening now will just make us a better country.
Stronger afterwards. That's really what this is, a message of hope. We've seen, I think for me, I don't know about how you feel, probably the most inspirational thing I've ever seen is in Rwanda, how the Hutu and Tutsi people, it's unbelievable how they've come together. I mean, the Rwandan Genocide was the most severe genocide in history. I believe 1 million people died within a month.
Oh, at least. Yeah, it was crazy.
And that when you visit the country now, I mean, of course there's still pain, but you see Hutu and Tutsi people living together, marrying, like they are healing, and they're still in the path of healing, but to see the degree in which they've healed as a country and as a people, as a nation, is absolutely inspiring. And we have so much to learn from them and to take from their experience.
Plus, I mean, they grew their economy just in an amazing way. They're kind of the darlings of Africa economically. And speaking of Africa, South Africa, also went through some issues, and it was really Desmond Tutu, whom I had the pleasure of meeting on actually one of our trips in Cape Town.
So jealous I wasn't there for that one.
And he's really short. He's a really short guy. But anyway, really sweet. And he's the one that came up with the concept of, what was it, the Forgiveness Council. But anyway, bring everybody together and let's talk about like how we're going to move forward. So,
and that's not to say that everything in South Africa is perfect now, certainly. But I do think that it's a nation that is continuing to rise, and they've also done a beautiful job. Like the Soweto Museum in Johannesburg is absolutely incredible. I mean, it's such a moving place to visit. If you're ever in South Africa and you're able to go to Soweto, I strongly suggest you do it.
No, and to your point, I mean, there's no perfect example. So, I mean, we're talking about these sort of success stories, and there'll be some of you that will grace us with your emails about how they didn't get it right, which is okay,
or that
fine.
They're still not getting it right yet.
Yeah,
they're on the path though, and you see it.
Yeah, I mean, when we traveled to Egypt, for instance, during the Arab Spring, there was a lot of nonsense going on, and there were certain groups like even the gay community that were being persecuted as scapegoats. And one of the things that I learned while traveling to Egypt is that really the Arab Spring backers were trying to clamp down on everybody. I mean, the women, the gay community, and to some extent that's changed. They have a long way to go. And I feel like, what our guests have told us is that us going there and being a presence really is helping their LGBT community move forward. It's going to take a while, but it's going to happen.
But it's really happening. I think that Joel and I are also just sensitive to the kind of emails you get back from people who are just, wow, it's still not good yet. But really, like Egypt is, I think, a bit of a success story. I mean, it's so far beyond what I thought it would be at this day, given what happened during the Arab Spring. I mean, I think it's improved so much more.
Yeah.
And
I hold on, my phone is blowing up with emails right now.
But
okay.
But I think that the same thing will happen in the U.S. I think my belief is that we have not treated people of color correctly ever in our nation. We've never had it right. And sometimes things have to get really, really bad before they get better. And things have to get better. And I just went to a protest in Chicago last weekend. I was there at the beginning of the protest. It was very, very peaceful. And I left the protest feeling so much pride for the U.S. and there's a lot of pride for Chicago, especially the way people came together. And the protesters were great. But I think certainly what we're learning is that a lot of the bad parts of the vandalism and the rioting and the looting that we're seeing is not so much protesters, it's other people it's just opportunists of all races coming in and seizing the opportunity to wreak some havoc. And there's also people trying to create the chaos and blame it on different groups.
You know, look, my take on it is, luckily in America, this is a place where the pie is big enough for everybody. This is not just one size pie that, zero sum. I get that piece of pie, that's one less piece of pie for that other person. No, I mean, this is a country where we grow that pie. That pie can be as big as can be. And I think that a lot of people do feel like, well, I have to put somebody else down to make myself feel better. Or I have to get that piece of the pie so that there's enough of that pie for me. Because if I don't grab that piece of the pie, well, there's not going to be enough for that's not the case.
There's no shortage of resources. There's a shortage of love. And that's what I think we need to focus on. Did I stump you with that one?
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. It's a very complicated situation. I just feel like I go back to, I think people are really, the reason that they put other people down is because they feel like if other people come up, they're going to displace them. And that does not have to be the case. There's room for everybody. There's room for, there's no need to continue to put other people down in order to make
rise yourself up.
Oneself, feel better or feel like we've got something on somebody else.
Yeah.
There's room for everybody.
But we've seen it all over the world in just different countries that have their challenges, and they've had big challenges happen that are rising and are continuing to rise. And I think the biggest thing that I can see in the countries like, especially in Rwanda, is two words I think of. First word is forgiveness. And I mean, there's no better example of forgiveness than when you go to Rwanda and you see the people, exemplifying that. And then the other word is hope. And I think that currently in America, we need to have a big helping of forgiveness and a big helping of hope to move past this and make things right in a way that they've never been right before.
That's our story. We wanted to share it with you.
Be good to each other.
Bye.
Bye.